Well, a lot of you weighing in on the school district in Missouri that announced it's going to reinstate spanking this school year, corporal punishment. They did a survey last year. Parents wanted an option other than suspension. They came up with this. If you're a parent, you have to sign off. And so there you go. And, of course, as you would expect, the usual suspects are lining up. You can give puberty blockers to minor children, and in some cases full hysterectomies, and try to convince a he, she's a she, but you can't swat somebody on the backside with a paddle for acting out in class. Whole damn thing's upside down to me. But Dr. Dean Beckloff, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, PhD, licensed professional counselor who specializes in family counseling and parenting advice, is with me. Doctor, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm here locally in Dallas, so it was interesting to hear the news and the weather and all that good stuff.
Well, we try to stay on top of that for everybody. All right. In general, what do you think of returning corporal punishment back to public schools?
Well, I've been working with families for over 40 years, and when I first started as a teacher, I was given a grade book because there were no computers in the school, and a paddle, and told to get to work. So that's how far back I go. We only had the limitation of had to have somebody there to observe it.
Right, a witness. Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, they've got some various rules for how they're going to do that in terms of parents have to sign off that they're okay with that. Then only the principal, which is probably good, instead of a really mad, upset teacher at a student. And then the principal and then the parents have to be notified before it happens, too. So they've got some things in place, and they said that they're also going to be using other things, too, like positive reinforcement and working on helping kids to think it through, which I'll tell you, my own experience was I decided to toss the paddle and work on it. I had the paddle used on me. I was raised with that family in the 50s and the 60s, but I tossed it and got rid of it. And I was known for having great classroom management. And then I decided when I had my own kids, I was going to try that with them. I never raised a paddle on them. I never swatted them. And they are good adults. Now, that's not research. That's just me. But I think that we have to work on helping these kids come to reason, because one of the things that discipline is about, it means to teach. Now, if you have kids, when I think of teaching and disciples, I think of the disciples who may have been listening to Jesus on the mountain in rapt attention. Children don't do that. Children do not sit in rapt attention. So it does require a lot more work, obviously.
Well, yeah, and you're a teacher. I've got teachers in my family. And if you've got a class of 28, and you've got one knucklehead that is, keeping every other kid from doing what they need to do, it's kind of hard in the climate in which we live now, with woke this and woke that, and be careful what you say, and it's just insane. It's kind of hard to say, okay, class, read chapter 3 while I take some time with Harold here and try to figure out what his deep-seated problems are. I think that's way too much to put on teachers.
Yeah, but I will tell you, I don't agree with physical use of punishment. I don't. Now, you can disagree, of course, but I don't agree with it. I think there's a lot of research that's been out there that's been done to look at that. I don't think it's about being woke. I think it's about listening, trying to help the kids learn how to get up into their upper part of their brain. My concern is that when a kid is fed a steady diet of yelling, screaming, hitting, spanking, slapping, and I had all that growing up, that they're not being taught to go up to the upper part of the brain. We have the biggest upper cortex of the brain than any other animal. If we are feeding them a steady diet of just being down in the reactive part of the brain, their synapses are growing that way. If we are teaching them to come up and do some thinking and learning and growing and developing, then we are on the right road for helping that part of the brain to light up.
You know, I suppose, and you're right, we disagree, but that's fine. We can do that here in this venue. Can't do it outside, but we can do it here. You know, I was raised in a household, I never, ever saw my grandfather or grandmother raise a hand to anybody or each other. Shut up was considered a dirty word. Never heard a curse word ever. But I got licks in school. You know, from time to time. I didn't end up on the roof with a Magnum at noon cleaning house. It was just part of the process. If you're going to act like a fool, there's a consequence for that. Well, I don't want that consequence again. And you'd straighten up. Now, there are those, if you speak to the extremes, you know, they live that at home just like they're acting out in school. But again, I don't know how as a teacher, you know, you separate from the herd the one or two people that, you know, they need a lot more time in intense scrutiny than a teacher with a classroom of 28 kids has time to give.
Yeah. I had 28, 30, 32. Yeah, I know it's hard. And it's challenging. But, you know, and I'm not somebody who doesn't believe in consequences. I do. I believe in them. But I also believe in consequences that are not going to be lighting up the lower part of the brain, which teaches a kid to just get angry or upset or worried or scared or run or fight. You know, I want lighting up the brain that's in the upper part of the brain that helps them to then become really good adults. Adults that can be in this world and they can manage their anxiety. They can manage their depression. They can manage things that are happening. And we got a bunch of kids these days that have a lot of problems in that arena. Now, I'm not calling it because it's physical punishment, but we just know from research that all that stuff is going up. Now, can you do it? Yes, you can do it. You can have a family where you may not be using physical punishment, but you're also going to be setting limits and following through with consequences. And we can't forget the other thing where you're giving a whole lot of affirmation to the kid. And then, of course, who benefits from spanking? I'll tell you who benefits from it. It's a parent. They get a load of stress off their plate, you know? That may not be the best way to deal with your own stress over the kid. But
and the studies I've read are just the opposite of that. But, you know, we're not going to line up on this. I guess what I would ask, you know, the teachers, you know, they only have so much time for each class to do what's assigned in the curriculum. If they continue to have problem after problem with the same student, if the parent doesn't want the kid suspended, what would you do?
Well, you know, I live in the Dallas area. I know how the schools operate here. And no, the teacher can't handle it all. The teacher's got to turn to somebody, and that generally is the principal or the assistant principal. And then they can also, usually all the schools around here, none of them, I think, use corporal punishment. But they also look at what are we going to do to intervene with the student. And if they have to pull him out of the classroom, they will, if he cannot manage himself. But they also work with these kids to get them back in the classroom.
Well, I'm not talking long term. I'm talking, you know, I'm a teacher. I got to get this done. We've got to move on to Chapter 6 tomorrow. I've got 3 more classes today. Same old problem. Well, to pull him out of class, now you're making him somebody else's problem there in the school because he's got to be watched. He's not a pet. You can't turn him outside. So basically, you're telling me you would do what in the form of discipline?
Oh, if the kid is out of control, they got to get out of that classroom. The teacher can't teach the rest of the kids. So, yeah, they're going to have to be sent to the principal. And in this particular school district, it's going to be the principal that uses the paddle, not the teacher. Teacher doesn't have time to pull out the paddle and start working on the kid. They've got a classroom to take care of. So kid has to leave, and then somebody's going to be taking care of something, because they're going to be sent to the principal or vice principal or something.
Dr. Dean Beckloff, PhD, licensed professional counselor, I appreciate your time.